So what I want to talk about today, out of all things, is making sure your kid grows up with discipline. I've been really thinking about this lately. I've been just reminiscing about how I grew up with not a large quantity of discipline, and how was I able to take a childhood that did not have the greatest role models in the world, all the respect in the world given to those that have helped me out, and somehow I grew this fire, this ambition in me that got me out of extreme mediocrity and just helped me level up and continue shooting for life. I'm just going to go over personal experiences, overcoming them, and then lessons, just in that syncretic order. And you know what's funny? If I brought this up, and yeah, I'm reading a book. This one is Hearts Touched with Fire by David Gergen. So it's a really good book. This came up because I am visiting my hometown, my home state. I'm in Darien, Connecticut right now. And I've seen multiple of my friends working at a Palmer's and a Stop and Shop and a Walmart, right? And all my close friends that I've known and hung out with, they all work at Stop and Shops, 7-Elevens, low-income mechanics, drug addicts, alcoholics. Every single one of them. I'm the only one that even attempted to do something with my life, anything. And I was trying to think about, like, what was the crucible moment that really made me be like, oh, you know what? I actually think that big D word, discipline, is probably an important thing I need to start accumulating in my life, right? I'm trying to think about what that moment was. And that moment for me, right? I'm going to fast track in the future and I'm going to go backwards. That moment for me was when I was diagnosed with atrial fibrillation, AFib. My heart would stop working because I was 300 pounds and I was borderline diabetic, right? I was such a fat slob that played video games every single day. I was so lazy that and this is me being vulnerable here, I was so lazy at a point in middle school that I even was too lazy to go to the fucking bathroom. I pissed my pants because of how much I love playing video games. Want to talk about some vulnerable bullshit? That's right, there you go. I would play video games until 6 a.m. in the morning during the summer, and then I would go to sleep, wake up at 11 a.m. and then just do it all again. Addictive personality, just playing all day long. Now, what am I hoping to like get out of somebody watching a video like this? What is my main message? My message is that I hear so many people prioritizing going to good schools and good education and not getting in trouble, but they're missing the core foundation of discipline, consistency, like those really big skills, commitment, like that stuff, right? So to dive into that, when I was brought up in a Rowayton elementary school, right? Great elementary school. It was in Norwalk, Connecticut. My parents wanted me to go to, they didn't like the middle school and the high school though. Middle school and the high school, what they have, gangs, drugs, alcohol, just bad activities, bad kids, all that stuff. A little bit of stealing, a little bit of murdering, the good old stuff in middle school. But so they moved me to Darien High School. I went to a good school, good middle school, right? I was surrounded by people that were getting good grades, actually gave a crap about your education. But when I moved there, it worked. It 100% worked. I was a good kid, I didn't get in trouble. I wasn't hyper aggressive. I wasn't trying to throw rocks at cars off of a highway. I wasn't trying to start random, Grand Theft Auto and light cars on fire and, pick random fights, spray painting. I wasn't in that crowd when I was younger. But what ended up happening was that I fell down. I didn't go down the wrong path criminal wise, right? But then I went down the wrong path discipline wise. So that's where I'm trying to correct somebody's mindset to be aware of both when they're trying to make sure they're raising their kid right. I don't want my kid to get in trouble, but you also got to make sure your kid is not a fat fuck that can't do anything, and you're setting them up for failure because they can't control their diet, they're not exercising, they're not doing any piece of homework, they're not nothing, Because to me, honest to God, I think that's a fate worse than death. I think it's a fate worse than going through the juvenile correctional system as a young delinquent. Because at least then, I mean, gosh, at least you're being active, huh? You're being active. I'm just kidding. I don't support anybody getting in trouble. I don't support people getting put in juvie. I think it's terrible, okay? But what I'm saying is that I became a 300-pound obese kid that I just told you how bad it was. I could not think of a more pathetic piece of trash than I was when I was a kid, right? Just gross, you know, slob, right? But what happened to me? What'd I get? I got the snap. Oh, that magic little God snap, right? Luckily that came when I thought I was having a heart attack because I was so fat, you know? But that doesn't happen to everybody. I would say it doesn't happen to most people. And God blessed me. He truly, truly blessed me by allowing to have that moment. But others not having that moment, they're still stuck. They're stuck in a state that which they're gonna die a very, very miserable, miserable human being. I'm just saying it how it is. I guarantee if I talk to them, they'd actually probably agree with me. And so I'm just trying to bring it to public attention that you're addressing part of the issue. What are people in the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s super concerned about, right? We don't want to get our kids in, we don't want the kids to get in trouble. We don't want them to go to juvie, okay? We don't want them to grow up with bad kids smoking dope and drinking and smoking cigarettes, okay? I'm completely 90, I don't remember the exact statistic, but you know, after school activities, when school is over, the majority of juvenile crime is going to happen in the hours before a parent comes home, right? I don't remember the exact verbiage for that. There's a word, but after school activities, making a kid more active, giving them skills to develop, you know, a way to be proud of themselves, to have courage, commitment, discipline, compassion. I love that stuff. It's something I'm extremely passionate about, right? But I think where the educational system is failing right now is that, and the parents, you got to blame the parents too, right? The society as a whole, is that it's not just about you're replacing one thing for another thing. You're halfway there. You're worried about your kids getting in trouble, okay? And once you figure that out, you got to correct it. Move to a good place. Now we need our kids to be disciplined and do football and all these things to make sure that they're living a healthy, good life. Great. You think you have the whole equation solved, but where you're messing up is there's such a lack of articulation here. There's a lack of articulation here. That's what's happening. And that's where we're missing the ball, right? If someone actually sat and explained to a kid why they're doing what they're doing, why are we moving our home to a better location so that way we can have a better life for you, why are we putting you into an extracurricular, why are we encouraging you to do an extracurricular activity, okay? It's because of A, B, and C reason, and they're not willing to be blunt enough to say, because if not, here's what's probably gonna happen if you don't do this. You're gonna end up like A, B, and C. You're gonna end up like D, E, and F example, and your life probably 10 years from now is gonna look like X, Y, Z. And you need to be really, really blunt, right? Too many people are trying to shelter their kids from reality. You know, I found that whenever I was operating at my best as a kid was when I was given leadership opportunities. Whenever I would mess up or whenever I would be a little shit, if somebody gave me a leadership opportunity, oh my God, I took over. I loved it. It was the weirdest thing. I would fully rebel. You know, I'll never forget those lessons from like Boy Scouts where I would be fully rebelling against something. And then someone would be like, hey, I want you to be in charge of 1, 2, 3, like this little thing, like bringing firewood in. There's gonna be 2 other people underneath you, help guide them. I would take it over. Leadership, number 1. Number 2 would be when someone very clearly treated me like an adult and sat me down, explained to me exactly why they were doing what they're doing, what's happening, and really made me feel like I was being heard. Allow me to ask, proper communication, right? Allow me to ask questions. Acknowledge that I was asking good questions. Wow, that's a good question you had there. That's so interesting. Have you tried on this perspective for a size? Wow, that's so interesting that you have that thought. And I'm just finding myself very frustrated right now because of my my family, right? And I don't want to talk bad about anybody because I love my family with all my heart. I would take a bullet directly in my heart and my head for them. But it's like, for example, it's extremely frustrating to watch my sisters growing up very similar to the way I did, where she's not a troublemaker, but she's not on the path of discipline to the extreme, if you know what I mean. Video games, McDonald's, unsupervised bedtime, it's all the same stuff. And it's like, I'm just watching this problem that it feels like I'm taking crazy pills. I literally feel like I'm taking fucking crazy pills because I'm looking at a problem that is so simplistically, I'm going to use the word it is simplistically solved. It is so simplistically solved. Find something you're passionate about. Do it. Feel good about it. Feel fulfilled. Love yourself. Like, just, it's these problems are so simply solved. But it feels like I'm taking crazy pills when I watch them get solved in the most stupid way possible, right? Just give them these drugs. Oh, they're eating McDonald's every day and they're sleeping until they're going to sleep at 2 a.m. and they wake up at 6 a.m. They're playing video games until the wee hours of the night and they're behind on their homework and nobody's talking to them or showing them any love or compassion or giving a crap about them or their health, mental, physical, or spiritual health. Oh, well, it's easily, I see the problem here. You just got to give them some drugs. Put them in some therapy. Put them in a therapy with somebody that's probably on someone that's probably on serotonin uptake inhibitors themselves and probably has not figured out their life at all. Someone that's also probably obese is going to be your therapist. Someone that is not someone that you idolize, but you're going to listen to them anyway, even though you don't want to be like them. You're going to listen to them and take their opinion. Oh, we found the solution. We got to give them a safe zone. We got to put a little square in the center of a fucking school and make sure that they don't have any form of violent verbiage used to them, which is definitely not going to happen in the real world, right? People are always nice to you in the real world. And we're going to make sure that when they're nice and young, we're going to make sure that they go through the most utopia experience ever. So that way they're not able to cope with anything outside of the real world, the fake school world. We're going to make sure that they're unable to cope because we're going to make sure they go through a utopia experience of a safe zone. I'm just watching problems that have already been, the answer is already there. The answers have already been here for thousands of years. Do hard shit. Discipline. Find a purpose in life. Do what you're passionate about. You know, like these are these are not new things. Serotonin reuptake inhibitors are a new thing. Talking to a therapist is a new thing. Safe spaces are a new thing. Life is hard. You gotta, Jim Rohn had a great quote. If you do easy things, your life is hard. If you do hard things, your life is easy. I'm just watching kids go down the wrong path and they're leading a bad life. You know, they're not wanting to do anything great. You know, they're not taking excellence in anything they do. They want to kill themselves. And it's just, it seems so correctable to me that it's very extremely frustrating watching kids go down the shitter. And it's like people are blind, you know? And I'm able to articulate this, right? I'm able to like verbally say what's going on, what's a possible solution, right? A, B, C. Here's what people were thinking. Here's the way that they attempted to correct the situation. Here's the actual outcome. Here's the way the situation should have been corrected. Here's the way it's been getting corrected since the dawn of time. Here would be the outcome if you did this alternative method. Obviously, I'm going on a bit of a tangent here, but I mean, it's like the same things, like love God. If you're an atheist, right? Find a purpose that's bigger than yourself. Something you put your all into, you know? Find some competition. Find something to be competitive about. If you are going to be at your best, there's multiple studies that show that, you know, everything, I don't even know if I should use examples because I'm getting off topic, but I'm going to use an example anyway, where people would do like company walkathons with Fitbits, You know what I'm talking about? Where they wear the Fitbits and they'd walk around and they do these competitions, and they would notice people's steps would go drastically up. And as soon as the competitions are over, their steps would go drastically down for everybody. And they still keep measuring their Fitbits. Like, be competitive. I can't give you all the answers to life in a video. All I'm saying is that we got to fix the kiddos. They're sick, but we're making them sick. Okay, fix the kiddos. It's simpler than you think, but it's not going to be as easy as you think. That's where I think it's coming from. That's where I think we're getting lost here. All right.